Got to get you all buckled in to the tripod, so give me a moment to do that. Went live a little bit quicker than I was expecting, but yeah, hold on here. All right, let's get the microphone on me and in there so you can hear what's going on. Oh, yeah, that's YouTube for you. Pops you into a live before you know it. There we go. All right, so I don't know that I'll be able to see how many people are on here until you all start popping on. But we're gonna do a Firefly Petunia Q&A today. So basically, anything you wanted to know about Firefly Petunias, but were afraid to ask. You know what? Let's get the remote mic down here too. Let's just bring this one down a little bit more. Sometimes we need a second mic. There we go. All right, you're gonna see that guy dangling up there. Because I don't want to lose audio. Don't want to lose audio, and I've had that happen a couple times before. So there we go. We'll dangle a mic up there. We've got one on my lapel. It's a lapel mic. So yeah, today's whole deal is anything that you wanted to ask about Firefly Petunias, but were afraid to ask, or weren't getting from the forums, or just whatever you really want to know. Okay, so Firefly Petunias. Let's talk a little bit about them. Use my big, beautiful samples here. So this is a big, beautiful Firefly Petunia. This, in the daytime, looks like just a standard white petunia, but this is bioluminescent. So if you don't know what that means, it means it glows in the dark. So if you think of like jellyfish or, you know, small organisms, the ocean, where they, you know, the waves come in and the ocean turns blue. This does the same thing, but they used a bioluminescent fungus. So they used a mushroom that glows in the dark, and they grabbed the genes from that and inserted them into the petunia. So at night, yes, this glows in the dark, which is pretty doggone cool. So yeah, Firefly Petunias are new. This is my third year growing them. I grew them the first year they came out. I grew them last year, and then this is my third year. So if you have questions, drop them down in the comments. If you hear noises, don't worry, that's okay. There's a windstorm going out there. But yeah, bioluminescent Firefly Petunias. So we're going to talk a little bit about those, and kind of the care and the feeding and questions that you might have in regards to that, right? So the biggest question that I get around Firefly Petunias is, are they difficult to grow? No. I wouldn't say that these are difficult to grow. I would just typically grow these like you would any other petunia. So let me grab another petunia. Let's see. Let's grab a fancy one. So this is one called Glamoflage Grape. It's a variegated petunia. So with this, I treat this just the same as any other garden plant. It goes right into the ground. I water and fertilize it. I put it in a nice, bright, sunny spot. Okay. Firefly Petunias, same deal. Nice, bright, sunny spot, water and fertilize them. But with these, I would recommend planting this in a container, something that you can move in case it gets too bright at night. Really, with Firefly Petunias, you want it darker so that you can see that glow. Okay. Let's see. We got a question down there. Is dandelion tea hard to make? We're talking about Firefly Petunias today. Well, this is the Firefly Petunia. But to answer your question, I don't know. Never made it. That's a good question for Google. You know, I have had people tell me about dandelion pop. It's dandelion wine. But yeah, no, I don't know the answer to that one. I'm a nurseryman. This is what I specialize in. I will say, if it comes to something that you want to eat, petunias are not it. They're not toxic or poisonous. The blossoms apparently have a little bit of a peppery taste and have been noted in some cases to have mild hallucinogenic effects. This plant is in the nightshades, right? So the nightshades, that is your hot peppers, your tomatoes, your potatoes. They're loaded with alkaloids, and alkaloids can do funny things to people. There's also a nightshade that a lot of people do appreciate the alkaloid, which would be tobacco. These are related to tobacco plants. In fact, the first bioluminescent plant was actually a tobacco plant. And that was something that they called Firefly tobacco. So that was the first original animal plant hybrid made through genetic engineering. And the really cool thing is, so this has also the name Firefly. The Firefly Petunia is in a way named after the original Firefly tobacco. So you see the name was the same there. And it's the same group. So Keith Wood, the scientist that's behind the Firefly Petunia, is also behind the Firefly tobacco. And that was in the late 80s. Hello, hi, welcome in. Welcome in. We are talking about Firefly Petunias today. If you have any questions about care for these bioluminescent petunias, hello. They are, that's what we're talking about is what do we do with these guys? Now, there's a lot of care and feeding that we need to think about with a Firefly Petunia. Now, I will say this is a little bit older specimen. Oops. Needs a little bit deeper potting today, but this one is a fairly good size Firefly Petunia specimen. This is one that I got a few weeks ago, so you can see that there's definitely a size difference between the two. There they are side by side. So with these, a lot of that is going to be down to your care and feeding. You know, are we using the right soil? Are we using the right fertilizer? And we have the right light. And if you've got all that, these will continue to grow. Now, Firefly Petunias. Let's talk a little bit about kind of growing conditions and maximum size. So these two petunias are both Firefly Petunias. You can see that there is a definite difference in the size of these and in the growing structure. You can see how this is a little bit more open, and this one is really dark green and very compact. This one is grown indoors under 100% artificial light, so that's under grow lights. This is grown outside in a greenhouse with natural lighting and then supplemented with LED grow lights. So there's a big difference here. This has got much more intense light, which is why it is shorter and more compact. And this one is outside, and this one's got a little bit more age on it, but it's a little bit larger plant. Okay, so yeah, those of you that are going to grow inside, this is what your Firefly Petunia is going to look like. It's going to be nice and compact. With these also, if you're giving that right care and feeding and you're inside, it's much easier to see the glow of the Firefly Petunia. So that bioluminescent glow in the dark, if you are indoors, because you can block out any of that, any of the stray light. Like here in the lab, it's kind of difficult from time to time to photograph my bioluminescent petunias because there's too much ambient light that comes through. So I've got neighbors behind me that have security lights. There's a street light that way, and there's security lights that way. And it makes it relatively bright in the greenhouse at night, which makes it hard to see the glow. So having these inside definitely makes it easier to take photographs. Although I do have a big sheet of black plastic that I can drape over the entire greenhouse to make it pitch black in here to make good photos. And welcome into the live. Those of you just joining, we're talking about bioluminescent Firefly Petunias. So petunias that grow in the dark, or excuse me, glow in the dark. And I'm answering any questions that you have about those. Now, Light Bio does sponsor me, so I will tip my cards on that. They gave me a whole bunch of plants this year, and there's a series of videos on proper care and feeding that I'm going to be making for them later on this year. So you'll start to see those released through Light Bio, who is the producer and creator of this plant. But with this, if you want one of these, go to light.bio. So www.light.bio. The bio is the end of the web address. So, you know, like .com, .org, all that. Theirs is .bio, .bio. So they created this fantastic petunia. And with this one, right now, all I have is the white ones. There is a bicolor coming out, which, see if you can see it in the background. This is Amore King of Hearts. This is another petunia. That's a bicolor. So you have alternating stripes. They've got one that's alternating with pink that is coming out. So there's little pink blotches around the blossom. And then they have one where the whole blossom is pink. So it's a solid pink. And I don't have anything in here growing right now that's the same color as their pink. But yes, they are coming out with the pink. Now, I will also say the petunias that are coming out in the bicolor and in the pink are off of a different petunia strain. So there's a chance that they're going to perform a little bit different than the ones we're commonly growing. Like these ones here, the standard original Fireflies are great for containers. The ones that are coming out are designed to be in flower beds, and they have one that's kind of designed to be in hanging baskets. So I'm waiting to get my hands on those so I can see how much more vigorous they grow. As you can see here, I'll grab, this is a different one than even the one earlier. As you can see, I've kind of nailed down the secret to get Firefly Petunias to really take off and flourish. And this is a small one for me. My largest Firefly last year was a little bit over 2 foot across. So 2 foot by 2 foot, a great big circle. And I grew that in a 12-inch by 12-inch round container. Fertilized it pretty much every watering with Jack's Classics Petunia feed. It's 2622. So Jack's Classic Petunia feed 2622 is what I would recommend. Now, Light Bio does have little packets. So when you get one of the Light Bio Petunias this year, they are going to come with a little bit of a fertilizer packet. And the best part is this is made in Allentown, Pennsylvania by the J.R. Peters Company. So the same company that makes the fertilizer that I recommend makes the little sample packs of fertilizer for Light Bio that come in there. And they're coming with a glow-in-the-dark sticker. I know if you saw my short, I really love stickers. It's just a thing from my childhood. Stickers were our currency. It's what we collected. So that's to the Gen X. How often do we fertilize? So there's 2 ways to do that. Let me get this one put back here. Get another one out. So with the Light Bio Petunias, there's 2 methods of fertilization. So one is called CLF, or constant liquid feed, and the other one is a periodic fertilizing. So the rate that I feed those methods differs depending on which method I'm using. So if I'm fertilizing with a constant liquid feed, which means I apply fertilizer to my petunias. How many petunias do I have in here? A lot, like close to 30 bioluminescent ones. But let's get back to the fertilizer on that. So the constant liquid feed, I use 1/2 tablespoon per gallon of water, and then I fertilize them or water them every time they need water, which is in the summertime is pretty much every day. And I'll water them until water runs through the pot and out the drain hole. So on a small pot like this, it's going to take about a cup of water for that to flush all the way through. and I'll fertilize that every single watering. That's if I'm using a constant liquid feed. If I'm doing periodic feeding, I'll use 1 tablespoon per gallon, and I'll fertilize that 2 to 3 times a week. So 2 to 3 times a week for a watering, I'm pouring the fertilizer mix, so the water fertilizer mix, into my pot and allowing it to drain out the bottom. And the draining out the bottom is one of the most important things when we're watering, is to make sure that when we fill it up here, it moistens all the soil, gets that soil all nice and filled with water, and then it has to drain out the bottom side, and that flushes out any salts that are building up. Windstorm outside right now. So I think we're getting like 30 to 40 mile an hour winds right now. That's why we're filming in the lab today. But yeah, so with these, if I were to mix up a gallon of my fertilizer mix with this, it's probably going to last me 2.5 weeks of fertilizer there for a constant liquid fertilizing. The other thing I will say is what soil? Excellent question. I recommend a product by the company called SunGrow. It's specifically Sunshine Mix number 4. It is a peat perlite mix. So we want to make sure that when we're using a soil mix, we have something that's light and fluffy, and it doesn't have any mulch. Mulch in potting soil. So if you're going out and you're buying like Scott's potting mix or raised bed mix, a lot of those are using post-consumer garden mulch. So basically they're taking your lawn clippings, your tree trimmings, they're chipping it up and shredding it, putting it in great big piles and allowing it to compost. That makes a very heavy soil that holds a lot of water, and it's also got a very high fungal and bacterial load. And that can really cause problems. So we want to have a nice light mix, a nice light peat perlite mix. And with those, it's all brand new ingredients. So we're not recycling anything. The pH is going to be right. The drainage is going to be right. The moisture holding capability is going to be right. So Sunshine Mix number 4. It's available at Lowe's, available at Home Depot. And if you Google Sunshine Mix number 4, it's going to come up, but it's from a company called SunGrow. Okay. What other questions do you have? Oh, and I should say, this is Light Bio's new product. So this is their indoor product. This is a ceramic pot. I think I'm one of the first in the nation to get it. There's a drain hole there and a little dish. And this is one of my plants that is strictly in my indoor growing. So this is under artificial light. He's only a couple of weeks old to me, so he's still recovering from shipping. Anytime you cram a plant into a small container and you ship it across the country, like us, you know, long ago, when I was much younger, I took a trip to Australia. They crammed us in an airplane and I flew all the way back, and I was exhausted when I got back. Same deal with the Firefly Petunias. After shipping, they're exhausted and they need a chance to recover. Okay, next question. If I'm growing them outside, are they okay in direct sunlight? Yes, absolutely. So where I'm located is in northern Idaho. I'm in one of the lowest spots in Idaho, which is kind of ironic. Snake River ends right over there. But with that, where I'm at, we routinely get temperatures. In the summer, we're generally over 100 degrees. We do frequently hit 107, and we'll have a week or two that we get up to 110, 115. And mine are outside in full sun. Now, I will say when we get to the really, really hot weather, I make sure that they're out of the sun so they get indirect sun. Well, direct sun up to about 1 o'clock, and then indirect sun after that if we're really, really hot. However, I have allowed containers to sit right in the full direct hot sun, and they're just fine. Petunias love heat, and they love heat just about as much as they love water and fertilizer. So make sure if you have them in full direct sun that you have a good potting soil, a large enough container for the size of the plant, because we need to have enough volume for them to have water to rely on in there. Okay, so the right soil, the right size container, and then make sure that you water them pretty much every day. So my bigger containers, they're They're 12-inch by 12-inch round pots is what I will eventually move this up into. And with those, they get water every day. When it's 100 and, when it hits to 110, they get watered in the morning and the evening. But yes, full direct sunlight is best, and you will see that they're going to grow the best in that. You can do LED lights. So this is the LED light one. And I've got a series of videos that I'm going through where I'm testing a couple of different lights. This one I think was under the Fight 12-foot, or excuse me, 2-foot light, and it's been under there for a few weeks. So you can see that it's much more compact than this one, which is being grown outside. When companion planting, is there a plant I should not plant them next to? You're going to want to make sure that the growth habit that you are working with doesn't overwhelm it. Okay, so if we've got, I've got one, actually, he's kind of struggling right now. Here, I'll move you down over here. So there is a Firefly Petunia right down in here. They're slower growing than my other petunias around them. So you can't see him, he's down here. But the Amore King of Hearts is a faster grower, and it's out competing my Firefly Petunia that's in the center. Now, I also planted that one as a plug in there. They had 45mm plugs that they sent me. These arrived at the same time, so that's about the size that's in there. Actually, these two plants are the same age. This is outside, this is inside. So I would wait till they got a little bit larger before planting them. So definitely plant them with the same size plants that you're doing. And I wouldn't really put them in the ground, at least not the original Fireflies. So I found they did much better in containers than they did in the ground. If I were growing just this one, I would probably look at some other complementary plants. Get a few of these and plant like Dracaena in the center, which is your tall spikes. New Zealand flax would go really well. Something that brings up the height with that. And then you could intersperse it. Let's see, what else could we put in there? Maybe some Bidens or Bidens, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's Bidens. It's an Asteraceae family. It's a little tiny sunflower looking plant, but it's got a real lacy needle-like, just real lacy leaves. It's very open, very airy. And that will allow it to go over the top of your Firefly Petunias, but you can see the Firefly Petunia blossoms through it, which I think is kind of important, since the whole reason we grow it is it's bioluminescent and we can see it at night. You don't want to put anything that's too heavy or too dense over the top of it. Let's get this one down here. See if you can see it. This is Serfina pink veined. This is a really long trailer. This one can get as long as 5 to 6 feet by the end of the summer. And that's a pretty vigorous plant. 5 to 6 feet is a lot for a petunia. I would use the Firefly Petunias as a plant in the very center of a container if you're going to do a long trailer, because this is more mounding and mat forming. So it's not a very tall petunia, so that's about as tall as it gets, and then it spreads over the edges, but it's not a really large plant. In containers like this one here, and again, this one's brand new to me. It's going to get about this size, and then it's going to stop growing because it's going to be restricted by the size of its container. So indoor growing, this is going to be fine. This one is living under bioluminescent, or excuse me, living under LED lights, and it does glow quite well. And again, this one's recovering, getting used to its new growing area. What are some other questions we have? How about we talk about pests, plant pests? So I've got another video that I posted about these. These are insect monitoring cards. So these are an adhesive card, very sticky. I don't want to, there you go. Very sticky. So when an insect lands on this, it's actually trapped. The reason I would put in monitoring cards is it's going to allow you to track what type of pests are in your greenhouse. And I wouldn't put those outside because it's going to catch everything. We don't want to be catching bees. But in my greenhouse, it allows me to see what is here. So like here is another one that I have on the other side. You can see there's a couple little dots down there. Those are fungus gnats. So I was worried that I might have, I saw some stuff flying around and I couldn't catch it. And I wanted to see what it was. So I put out some monitoring cards and they told me that it's fungus gnats, basically. This is a product there. They come in, it says BioCare. I see that it's backwards. So it's aphid and whitefly traps. If you're going to monitor for all the other ones, these are yellow, right? And they have a covering on the adhesive, so a backing on that. The yellow will do whiteflies and aphids, and they make a blue one, and the blue one it attracts thrips. Thrips are another small sucking insect. Also can be a pretty bad pest in the greenhouse. So you want to make sure that you're using both blue cards and yellow cards. I just haven't got the blue ones yet. I just got my yellow ones out this week, actually. The yellow works really good for whitefly, but I don't have to worry about it where I'm at. We don't really have any endemic whitefly. So as long as my plant material comes in clean, I don't have to worry about whitefly. It's basically like a super tiny little moth creature that the larvae are really devastating to plants. As far as care for the Firefly Petunias, they are very sensitive to aphids, more so than any other petunia variety I've grown, actually. And so with that, you do need to spray routinely. So about every 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to be wanting to apply an insecticide. And you can rotate that as you go to make sure that the active ingredient changes so they don't build up resistance. So I have a request for a question. As long as it's channel appropriate, I'll answer it. If it's not, I will not answer it. Okay. Pardon me, guys. All right. It is a live stream, so we get what we get. If that pops back up, I'm just going to ban them. Okay, so we are going to be doing appropriate questions. I was a high school teacher for 8 years. I taught this for 8 years. So that's, yeah, we're, okay, y'all, I may have to ban him if it becomes too much of an issue. Okay, so what other questions do we have about Firefly Petunias? Okay, so those of you that have been on the fence on the Firefly Petunias, I will say the other thing is the cost has come down for them, which is good. My first year, I got a Firefly Petunia. It came as a small 4-inch pot, much, much smaller than this. And by the time I got it shipped to me, it was $52. That was a lot. But that was their very, very first year. They are much, much lower to that. You'll have to go on the Light Bio site. I don't remember the cost offhand. But the other thing is they are available at nurseries all across the United States. And if you go to their website, light.bio, there is a distributor or a grower locator, and you enter in your city and they'll tell you where they're going to be. That way you can go and you can decide if you want one before you get it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the glow of Firefly Petunias, because I know this is a big question. If you have a Firefly Petunia, drop it down in the comments that you have one. If you haven't, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So the one thing I will caution you with the Firefly Petunias is a lot of people want to see it glow right out of the box. Will it glow right out of the box? A little. Really, these are solar powered like any other plant, and their glow comes from their metabolism. So basically, sweet, yes, definitely go to their website. They've got them there coming up, and they're going to start shipping. They ship to each region as that growing season arrives. So I think we're getting into shipping for zone 11 and 10, which is your real southern United States, your real warm areas. But when you get these, the first thing you want to do is get them watered, get them fertilized, and allow them to just sit in the sunshine, right? You want them to have a chance to recover. Now, I would stick with like morning sunlight, or if you're going to put them under LED grow lights, do that first and give them a day or two to recover from their jet lag from being shipped before you're going and trying to see them glow. Because I don't want you to be disappointed on your first viewing. Okay. The next thing is we need to find a dark location. So if you live in a town, there's going to be enough ambient light, then it's going to be harder to see it. And I want you to really understand the glow by finding a dark location. So I have an interior storage closet, and I'll go in there when I'm checking out plants, because I know there's absolutely no other light than what light is coming off the petunia. Then there's a couple more things. One is understand that your eyes take time to adjust to the light. So if you've ever been out in the summertime, out working in your yard, and then walked into your garage and you're like, oh, I can't see anything, right? Because it seems really dark. And then the longer you stay in the garage, the brighter it becomes. Your eyes do the same thing as you're transitioning from a standard lit room into the darkness. They need time to recover. So I could go into all the science of your eyes, but basically your rods and cones, the sensors in your eyes, need time to fill back up with the light sensitive chemicals. Yeah, big science. Again, I was a high school teacher for a while, taught horticulture. Imagine that. But with these, go into a dark room with them and just sit. You want about 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes is about when everybody's eyes adjust, but the longer you sit, the brighter that you'll realize that the petunia is. So you'll sit there and just sit and relax. Make sure there's no lights. Try not to fall asleep. And then as you sit there, you'll start to see the plant glow. And the newest growth is actually going to be glowing the brightest. So the new buds are the brightest part of the entire plant. And then the new growth centers, where the meristem of the plant is, or the active growth center is also pretty bright. But the new blossoms are really, really neat. I've got some photos that I'm putting on my Patreon and also in my posts that show just the tip of a blossom glowing. And it's really like a little tiny fairy is trapped in the blossom. I kind of think of it that way. The other thing, yes, they are gorgeous. I love them. A lot of the photos that you're going to see are like a vivid neon green. It's actually like a soft, kind of like a moonlight, but in green. So it's a very soft, pale, limey green. It's not the intense, in person, it's not the intense, bright, neon-y green. All of my photos, cameras are different than human eyeballs. They take time to adjust. They don't pick up the light the same as our human eyes do. They see different wavelengths, so they kind of distort the color. I'll post another photo to my posts on the YouTube channel that'll show you really what the light looks like when it's glowing. I've kind of adjusted my camera to see the right style of light. But yeah, all parts of this plant glow. All parts. So not only the blossoms and the leaves and the stems, but down here, the roots also grow, or excuse me, the roots also glow. Coming up later this year when I get a few more plugs in, I'm waiting for some of the new varieties to come in. I'm going to put them in clear containers. So I've got some plexiglass containers, and I'm going to put them in there with the soil so that I can see the roots at night. And I'm going to take some photographs of them, and I'll have them posted there. But yeah, the roots also glow. And it's the fastest growing part of the plant that grows. So like the root tips are going to be the brightest part of any part of the plant. So that's pretty cool. Okay, what other questions do we have? I know people ask about colors, so different colors. So right now, it's the standard white Firefly. There's the bicolor pink and white, and then the solid pink that's coming out. I know as time goes on, there'll most likely be more and more colors coming out, but right now it's just limited to 3 colors. And of those 3, I only have the white. The other ones will come hopefully in a few weeks when they start shipping those. Because it's still winter. Even though it's 60 some degrees here in North Idaho, where we should be in like the 40s, it's still winter. We didn't get a winter this year. If you're on the East Coast, you took our winter. We'd like it back. we didn't get below freezing much this year, which is uncommon because usually we'll get negative temperatures. What other questions do we have? Oh, I know one. People often ask if there's a place they can buy seeds for the bioluminescent petunias. No, these are propagated cuttings only, and they are only available either through online sources like Home Depot. I know Home Depot had them, and then independent retailers, but you also can buy them from Light Bio itself. And the colored ones are only going to be coming from Light Bio's website. Next question, should I mulch around the bottom? As far as planting in a container or planting in the ground? Well, I'll just answer it as a general question. Raised bed. Okay. Raised bed, as long as it's not a really heavy, wet soil. So if we're using like new potting mix in there, it should be okay. The thing I worry about with mulch is it being too wet. They're not quite as robust as some other varieties of petunia. One of the things is their stem diameter is much smaller. It's a very fine diameter. It's not really super thick. So I worry about too much moisture if there's not enough air circulation. Well, I mean, we could also get into kind of the question of how old is the soil in the raised bed? Is it regular earth, or is it a potting media, or is it kind of a regular mulch? Because if it's a regular earth, adding any sort of organic matter is going to be good for it. If it is a raised bed where that the mulch or potting media you had in there is older, it's going to be higher in pH as that material starts to break down. So we might have to mix some lime in there to bring that pH back up to closer to slightly acidic, closer to neutral. They don't like a really low pH. We want something fairly neutral. So we've got to kind of be mindful of that. A lot of people that grow in raised containers or large containers don't change the potting soil out every year. And you'll notice as that potting media ages from year to year to year, your plants do worse and worse and worse. So refreshing that as close to every season is actually honestly the best. It's not something people like to hear. Like the Sunshine Mix number 4 is $33 a bag. But added leaves in the bottom, going to be adding new soil on top. Turn it up, rotate it, make sure that those leaves don't form a solid mat, because as that material gets down near the bottom and it gets compressed, it's going to become anaerobic. So it's going to have bacteria that function without air, and it starts to slow down on its decay. And it can form almost like a sheet of plastic at the bottom and not let the water percolate through. So I would mix it up, mix that organic matter in through there. Adding a little bit of lime to help bring that pH back up is going to help. I don't know how thick of layer your leaves are, but I always caution people, because if you dig it up, generally find this thick, wet mat that the water just doesn't penetrate through very well. So be cautious of that. Conversely, if you're using material like compost that comes out of a barn, from animal leavings, you're going to want that to age a year or two. You don't want a really hot mix. You don't want something that's going to burn the plant roots on that. Okay, what other questions do we have? I think we're gonna wrap this up in a little bit. So if you have other questions, go ahead and drop them down there in the comments. All right, I think we're wrapping up there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of do an outro here. So if you haven't had a chance to order those Firefly Petunias, go ahead and do that now. This channel is probably the, what would you say? This is my main theme on my channel, at least for the last couple of years, has been Firefly Petunias. So I'm kind of the leading YouTube expert on Firefly Petunias. So if you have questions, you can drop any comment down in any of the videos, and I will go through most of those. If it's something that needs to be answered, I'll go ahead and answer it. As long as it's channel appropriate, I'll post it. If it's not channel appropriate, it just gets booted. But I do answer and read all of the comments that come through. We're still a small enough channel that I do that pretty much every day, although responses might come periodically through the week. But usually within 24 hours to a week, I'll get back to any questions. Just depends on how busy I am. But yeah, we are the leading Firefly Petunia channel, and we are going to be having some of our features or videos featured by Light Bio. So they do sponsor me for video content. This one's not sponsored. It's just I felt like talking about my petunias today. So that's what we're doing. So there's a lot of plant content that comes here. This is a career and tech channel. We focus mainly on horticulture and plants. I am a second generation nurseryman. I've been a nurseryman for over 40 years. So I've done this a lot. Plants are really the language that I speak. And right now I specialize in petunias, specifically because of Light Bio. I just think it's a cool plant, very Avatar-esque and sci-fi. And it's definitely been a bucket list plant for me. There's other ones that are bucket list plants. Being successful with Venus flytraps, that's a new thing for me. Carnivorous plants are a new thing. And I'm hoping for some other things like Welwitschia and corpse lily. Those are things that I want later on, but I definitely need a bigger facility for those. Those require, the corpse lily needs a 20-foot tall greenhouse, and I don't have access to that right now. But anyway, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope if you feel led that you'll subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something, and we're going to wrap this right here. Ag Teacher Thoughts out. Thank you, everybody.